Hello, beloved listeners, and welcome to Snake People at the Movies, film criticism by people who actually like film. Join us as we dive into movies we love, movies we respect, and movies we wish we could unsee. It's the podcast where we talk about growing up and living queer, nerdy, and depressed online at the cinema. From the kids who are gay, if you haven't figured that part out, it's Sneople at the Movies. I'm Matty.
And I'm Helena.
Happy fucking Pride.
Happy Pride Month! We're missing Ezra, obviously, because they have a lot of stuff going on right now.
So busy.
Busyness, and work is awful, so they're taking a well-deserved
taking a bye
day
week.
Off.
Yeah.
And
also a week off. That was a stretch, but that's all right. So we have never actually done like a queer cinema focused episode, which is surprising because we've been making a queer cinema podcast for 3 years. But it's the first week of Pride. Figured it's a good time to do it. We'll just get right into it. I have not seen very much. I rewatched Mad Max Fury Road, meaning that I have now seen and rewatched all of the Mad Max movies. I think Fury Road is still at the top of my list, but that movie is way less plot than I remember it having. I'm like, oh, this is mostly car chases. Yeah, these car chases kick ass, though. So great good. Movie. Yeah. I have seen the first 3 episodes of Kenobi. That's my man. He's so fucking sad. And then I have been watching the Bad Batch animated show with a friend of the show, Madeline, and we are almost done. We are going to finish that sometime this week. So a lot of Star Wars, basically. What else is fucking new? But that's me.
That's you. I'm gonna remind myself, I did a lot of rewatching. I rewatched, everything I watched except for The Third Man here is kind of gay, if you think about it. I rewatched Lord of the Rings 2 Towers, so gay. Depending on which way you shake it, which is most ways. And I watched
every single way, yeah.
Pretty much every single way. And I rewatched the extended edition, which means it took me 2 nights accidentally to watch it, which is fine. Mm-hmm. Disc 1, Disc 2 is very nice. Crying alone in my apartment, always great. Mm-hmm. I rewatched The Third Man, which I hadn't watched since college, which I remember really liking the first time I saw it, and then I convinced myself that maybe it wasn't as good as I thought it was, and then I went back, and I liked it even more than I liked it the first time, which is great, because I was a Philistine in college, and I was like, most of this is kind of slow and boring, and then Orson Welles shows up, and it's like a banger. But actually, it turns out that everything that comes before it and then comes after it is also great because it's The Third Man and it's amazing. I rewatched Mulholland Drive. It's a great time. Love it. Lesbians. Love that.
Lesbians.
Love cowboys. Love Justin Theroux, which should be in every movie. Mm-hmm.
I need to see that movie so fucking bad.
Please allow me to share with you sometime if I can and maybe
Absolutely.
watch it with you because it is so special to watch somebody watch that movie for the first time. It's very enjoyable.
That sounds right. That sounds correct based on what I know about that movie. Yeah.
Yup. And then the last 3 movies that I have seen have all been queer movies, which I haven't really been planning. I just kind of have been wanting to see them for a long time, and I picked some at random. And they all have very different vibes. So I watched Funeral Parade of Roses, which is this cult classic kind of avant-garde movie from the late 1960s. It's a Japanese film about the kind of drag scene in Tokyo, or at least it follows a few different people in Tokyo. And it was really interesting. And I think a lot of the political context of what was going on was lost on me because I just don't know a lot about the extra politics about that time period. But the queer culture that it was depicting was super interesting and really vibrant and kind of ecstatic. It was really fun. Apparently it was a big influence on Kubrick for Clockwork Orange, which is
interesting.
Because it's I can see stylistically, I can absolutely see the influence, but in every other way, I'm okay. I'm not really a big fan of... I generally really like Kubrick movies. I'm just not a really big fan of Clockwork Orange for various reasons. So I was this is a better... Funeral Parade of Roses is better. Also, you can watch it on Canopy.
Love that.
Which is... a lot of these movies, except for Mulholland Drive and... I feel like Mulholland Drive is on Mubi, but that may have been in the past.
It might be. It might still be. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Third Man is on Criterion right now. Funeral Parade of Roses is on Canopy. Saving Face, which is a really, really sweet rom-com from the early 2000s, directed by Alice Wu, who recently, in the past couple of years, directed the half of it. As we all know, also a very cute queer rom-com.
Very good. Yep.
Saving Face is about Will, who is a Chinese-American lesbian, who is kind of like hiding her sexual orientation from her mom and her very traditional family, but then it turns out that her mom also has gotten pregnant at the age of 48, and she is her grandfather turns her out of the house, and her mom starts living with her while she's trying to start this relationship with this other ballet dancer who's like way more comfortable being out than she is. So it's a kind of like, traditional, like mild conflict, family conflict rom-com. But it was really sweet. Joan Chen, who plays the mom, is just so beautiful. I love her so much. And then I watched, last night, BPM, Beats Per Minute, which is the English title for the French film about a group of activists in ACT UP Paris back in I think it was meant to be the early 90s, late 80s. Very, very good. Also on Canopy. Saving Faces on Criterion, and I think a few other places as well. But BPM is on Canopy, and it made me cry a lot. A lot of people said it had pacing issues being too long. I didn't find that. I thought it was appropriate, and I really appreciated how much time they took with it. Adele Hanel, marry me, I love you, always. Whenever she shows up, I'm just like, it's you. You're there, and I love you. Hi. Oh my god, hi. I just think she's a really super interesting artist. I actually do think that. But also, oh my god, hi, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I've seen. Very, very different vibes for each of those movies.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah. This next part might be a bit tricky because I think do we want to like talk about ones that we would recommend necessarily, or as like a starting point to Pride, or do we want to talk about the films in general?
That's very difficult because I don't.
Yeah.
Because I feel. Because what I would recommend is like so different based on. I mean, for movies in general. Based on, like, the person, their experience, what they've already seen, right? But especially for queer movies, which are inherently, because they're about, like, identity, and people want... You and I are terminally online, I would say.
Yeah, kind of.
You and I have been online for a long time, terminally or not. And people get very particular about, like, queer depiction online, specifically.
Yeah. Sure.
So like something that very much speaks to you or I may not necessarily speak to somebody else, and in fact they would find it distasteful. So I am a little hesitant to be like, you gots to watch blank or whatever. Right. I started saying that sentence and I was like, actually there's a couple movies on this list where I would be like, you gots to watch this. But
yeah.
So we could do that because I guess that won't be a very long list. Because I would probably only go for things where I'm like, this is a very good movie. Yeah. And also depicts a queer relationship or a queer person or what have you.
Yeah.
So, and I think then we could go from there.
Yeah, because I feel like we can talk about them and then say if we would recommend them, if we would. Because, like, there's a lot of them here, too, where, like, take Ginger Snaps, for instance, here, where I'm like, the queer reading of this movie is very much not like there are explicitly queer characters in this movie. Right. It's more like you can get a reading from it. And I would recommend it apart from that anyway, because I think it's a super cool little movie that not a lot of people have seen.
Yeah.
Whether or not you get anything out of that as a queer narrative or from a trans narrative is completely like person to person. I know that some people have, but that doesn't necessarily.
And I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's a safe place to start. Is most of the things are be like, this is a very good movie separately, and some of them some of them are like there's
caveats,
a big ass fucking list we put on this Google Doc, and that was about it. So I feel like we'll just kind of, yeah. Do you have any right off the dome that you want to start with?
Well, I put it kind of alphabetical, and so it turns out...
And then I got in there and just started doing whatever the fuck I wanted, so sorry about that. I didn't realize you were doing that.
No, it's at least, like, my part of the list is still, like, alphabetical. And it turned out that by doing that, the top of the list ended up being John Malkovich, which, like... So, like, some of these movies on here I feel like are not explicitly... Because, like, when I feel like when I think of queer movies, I definitely think of something like Funeral Parade of Roses or Saving Face, movies that were made by and for and about queer people.
Yes, explicitly queer.
Explicitly queer. Where there are some movies on this list where I'm like being John Malkovich, that do have lesbians in them and also can be read as a, like, I think, positive trans narrative as well. But we're not necessarily intended with that, and so I sometimes think that people can be choosy about it. But also,
it's queer to me.
It's queer to me, and I also...
That's a difference, but, like, it's...
Yeah, it counts. And the great joy about being John Malkovich was I didn't expect to get that from it. I was just like, this seems like a funky, weird movie that I might enjoy, and I did. And then I was also like, oh, lesbians. That's really fun. Oh, gender. Interesting approach to gender. So that's in there. I enjoyed that movie. Booksmart, obviously, is a fun, sweet little movie. Born in Flames is a really interesting movie by Lizzie Borden and kind of radical feminist movie that you should watch anyway. And I seem to remember that there are lesbians in it. I can't actually remember if there are specifically, but I feel like there most certainly are. And, like, The Bride of Frankenstein is just a gay movie for gays, and so is any movie that James Whale made. I can't even explain it. You watch it and you're just like, this is a gay movie.
You just know. Yeah.
You just know. And it's powerful and potent, and that movie rocks so hard. I cannot even explain it.
Your review of that movie when you initially watched it was so glowing. I was like, I have never in my life been particularly interested in watching The Bride of Frankenstein. Then I was like, well, fuck, I gotta see this shit then.
I have always seen it in, like, best movies ever made lists where people are always like, listen, like Frankenstein, the original Frankenstein, fine, good, but they're like, Bride of Frankenstein is a masterpiece, and I was like, really? Okay. And when I went to Criterion, like, from the moment that it started, I was like, oh yeah, this is amazing.
I get it. Yeah, okay.
It's just so camp and so, like, ridiculous and so fully itself that it's so hard not to love it. I just
Speaking of camp, is Rocky Horror on here? Did we sneak that in?
No, I didn't.
We fucked up.
Forgot to put Rocky Horror.
It's on there. It's, like, spiritually.
It is on there.
I will sneak it in there. Continue talking.
Moving down the list, But I'm a Cheerleader, obviously. Great movie. Please watch. Diabolique, your mileage may vary. I feel like that's kind of one of those evil lesbian movies that, you know, some people are like, this, like, girl boss, this rocks so hard, murder, love it. And I enjoyed it. It didn't do a whole lot for me. The Favorite, on the other hand, Evil Lesbians, do love that movie. Always great to see Rachel Weisz there. Dog Day Afternoon, Be Gay, Do Crime. Another great one. Another one that was, like, surprisingly positive in its queer rep and, like, surprisingly truthful, I thought. Have you seen the Fear Street movies? I can't remember.
Not yet. It's one of those things where, like, they came out and I was like, hell yeah, I love this kind of shit. And then the reviews were like, these are fine. And I was like, okay, I don't need to watch them right away then.
Yeah.
So it is on, but I know that they are queer. I know that is something that is on my dome. And it sounds like first of all, I love watching trash. I have watched multiple Friday the 13th movies. Sorry to Friday the 13th fans. I am also one of them.
Yeah.
I just made several hand gestures to indicate that I'm not going to change my statement. I just haven't got around. The setup of them sounds interesting, but anyway.
It is trash. I would agree that they are trashy but enjoyable. I feel like for me the biggest disappointment was the second installment, which is like kind of the Friday the 13th one. It's like set at a camp,
70s or something.
70s, yeah. So it's kind of because there's like the 90s one and the 70s one, and then
there's like the 17 something, yeah.
Yeah. And they're like enjoyable, we do love to see lesbians. It's great. There's that part of it, which is really nice. I do think that they are just fine, apart from a really gnarly kill in the first movie, which I think rules.
Hell yeah.
I was like really shocked by that one, obviously. Ginger Snaps, as I've mentioned in here, great queer horror movie. Good. So is The Hunger, which is Susan Sarandon's first mention on this list, in her lesbian sex scene with Catherine Deneuve, another vampire movie.
Hell yeah.
David Bowie is also there, I guess. He's there too.
Or whatever.
More importantly, lesbians.
More importantly, yeah.
I've also just skipped over because we're getting into some queer horror shit. Flea, which I've talked about before, came out last year. That was nominated for Best Documentary, Best Animated Feature, and Best International Feature this year. I need to see that, yeah. Lovely movie. And The Hours as well, which is a really good movie that I enjoyed a lot more than the book. For some reason, I don't know why.
It happens like that sometimes.
That one was really good too. But all this to say, Jennifer's Body,
queen of them all. Here's what I will say. Horror movies love to be gay and have queer readings, and on some level you think, maybe that's an issue. But on another level, many of them, I'm thinking specifically of Scream, which is fucking gay. But was specifically, like, the original one, and I think a couple of the later ones, were written by was he closeted? A gay man, who may or may not have been closeted at the time, and saw himself in the final girl in Sydney. As someone who was like trapped, and desperately trying to escape and run away from something that just was unavoidable. And like there's this great article, and I would have to dig to find it, where he was talking about like I find as a gay person I see myself so much in the final girls who have this just kind of unavoidable, like, horrible ending coming for them. And they manage to escape it, and that is something that I find very encouraging and empowering. And I was like, both from like someone who's partially a woman perspective, and also someone who is gay, was like, yeah, wow, shit, that was such a like pieces clicking of like, fuck, people can be like literally trying to kill you, or it could be a metaphor or whatever, and you emerge victorious in like a very vindictive, satisfying way. Like, sometimes violence is the answer. I don't know. Sometimes that's satisfying. I loved that. It was very smart. Nightmare on Elm Street, I think, is also notably is like very gay, and has been talked about as like, I think that's kind of an issue. But I think also was created by someone who was gay. No, that may not be true. Don't quote me on that. I don't remember.
And then there's also, I know there's some trouble around and varying opinions around Sleepaway Camp, which I haven't seen.
I have not either.
But because I saw one part of it when I was younger, and it scared the shit out of me. So I don't know. I can't really speak to that one.
What's that slasher that's coming out? It's called, like, They, Them or something that takes place at, like, that's got Kevin Bacon, king of being in the first Friday the 13th movie. That shit's gonna be so bad, or it's gonna be so good, and either way, I'm very excited for it.
It's gonna be a good romp regardless, I hope. Unless it's, like, just inescapably offensive, but I don't think it will.
I don't think it's going to be. Yeah, I think it's going to be, like, Garbo, but I think it's gonna be extremely fun, so I'm really excited for that. I mentioned on here Friday the 13th Part 4, which has like a very weird, unexpected, like, gay text moment right before somebody just gets fucking killed. And I was like, wait, what? And then he gets murdered, and I was like, wait, what? He's in the shower, and fucking Jason shows up, and he thinks it's his girlfriend, and he calls out for his girlfriend, and then there's a pause, and he says the name of one of the other guys they're hanging out with, in, like, Paul, and it's like, hello? And then he dies, and I'm like, what?
Wait, what?
Crazy.
Let's rewind here a little bit. Yeah.
Homophobic Jason.
Paul.
Yeah. Paul. Paul is the one who gets killed. I mean, they all get killed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
anyway, horror loves gay shit.
It's like their production of Rent where they did that song, they did Contact, and Mark called out Roger
yes!
and he was masturbating. Anyway.
I think about that all the time. Every time I listen, I think about
day.
it all the time. Yeah. Haunted by it.
Isn't Nightmare on Elm Street 3 like entirely gay shit? I don't know. I haven't seen that.
I think it's
yet.
2. That is 2? 2 is like really gay.
Yeah.
I've talked about this before, that the Hollywood in Portland does queer horror nights, and I've never been to one, and God, I need to go. But I always remember driving by when they were doing queer horror one night, and they were doing Nightmare on Elm Street 2, and I was like, And then I looked it up later, and there's a lot of talk about it. There's, some people are like, yeah, okay, I see where they're coming from. Some people are like, oh, wow, this is really problematic. And that's kind of one of the tricky lines that I feel like you have to walk when you're doing queerness and horror. And at some level, it's probably, God, this is a whole episode I just have locked and loaded in my brain. On some level, it's easier because horror is already so subversive in so many different ways that it's easier to do that. But on the other hand, you run the risk of being like, but being gay either gets you killed or makes you evil. And I love evil villains, but also it's like, yeah, that's not like a good look.
Yeah.
That's all I will say, so we could go on to other topics, but good to remember that there's an episode there.
Yeah, for real. That's something to file away for later. I think also Slumber Party Massacre is another good queer horror movie as well, which doesn't necessarily end in...
Which I do need to see, but...
Like, being gay, bad metaphor reading, although it could.
Yeah.
But the lesbians survive.
That's the important part.
That's the important thing.
It's the lesbians survive. Yeah.
You got The Matrix on here, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And all movies by the Wachowski sisters, which just count because I feel like camp goes a long way for me to being able to read a movie as queer.
Yeah, but also The Matrix is like very, very, as many people talked about online, very clearly a trans allegory written by 2 trans women who were not out of the closet yet.
Yeah.
And you could read Neo in so many different ways of being a trans person, but like is clearly like trans, whether that is trans man, trans whatever. Is like, very coming out, watching The Matrix again as a trans person, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Same.
Yeah, man. Get it.
I like watched parts of that movie a lot as a kid, and then because it was like on TV a lot, and we also had it on VHS. And I rewatched.
Yeah, we're children of the early 2000s. The Matrix was everywhere.
The cable.
Our dads are nerds, also.
Also, this and had things like The Matrix on VHS. Mm-hmm. And then I rewatched it recently because I don't think I've watched it all the way through since like coming out, and then like. The whole movie, but especially the ending, I was like, oh, fucking yeah. I get it. What everyone else has said. Yeah. Basically. Everyone's right.
There's a lot of things, except for the people who are like, no, it's not a trans shit. Shut up. Yeah. Shut up. You don't know what you're talking about.
You know better than Keanu Reeves? Get a life.
Get a life. Grow up.
Fucking life. Maurice.
In haunting unison, Maurice. That is, I would say, is a movie I would highly recommend. However you want to slice or dice, like, queer experience parts, whatever. I'm like, that's just a good-ass movie.
Yeah.
And we've talked about the time we went to go see it in theaters and people were being weird, but, like, that is a movie that forces you to be that forces you to look in a mirror and be vulnerable with yourself, and, like, that's cool, and I love that. Yeah. And, like, there's sometimes when I watch specific queer movies, I get this, like, I had this with Portrait of a Lady on Fire too when I was watching it, where like there were moments of like queer intimacy, and I just had this like feeling in my chest of like, oh, like that's me.
Yeah.
That, like, being seen, which was really an incredible experience. And I was like, do people who are straight, like, feel like this all the time?
Yeah.
I don't know if they do, but I'm like, do they? Maybe it's different because you see so much of it that, like, we don't get to see as much, so when we do, it feels more special. But maybe not. I have no clue.
Yeah. I remember specifically, and this is kind of jumping ahead, but the moment in Moonlight, when I saw Moonlight in theaters, where Kevin turns on the jukebox and it starts playing. He's like, there's this song that I want to play for you that after they haven't seen each other in years, to Chiron, and he plays Hello Stranger by Barbara Lewis, comes on the jukebox, and he slowly turns around and just, like, looks at him. And I was, like, in the theater on either, like, in between my parents, like, I'm losing my... I mean, it was a really beautiful moment of movie magic, also in the way that it was filmed and set up and everything like that, and acted. But also it was like, ha 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 ha. That was, like... that was like one of the first times I really felt that watching a movie, for sure. Like, consciously, I think. The
recognition of, like, oh, we are seeing each other.
Yeah.
In this moment.
Exactly. And jumping back to Morris. It drives me insane that they English pronounce it like that, because it's like, it's Maurice, and you read it as Maurice. You can't say it, but they're always like Morris, and I'm like, I hate
fucking
you.
Animals. I hate fuck the English.
God, fuck the Queen, fuck the Jubilee. But bless James Wilby and his mustache. I feel like all Merchant Ivory movies I count as queer to me, partly because they were gay, partly they were gay, partly because they did so many adaptations of E.M. Forster novels, and E.M. Forster obviously being gay, but they also just, like, all of them have something in them, like, thinking so Room of the View and Howard's End and Remains of the Day is just, like, deeply, deeply emotionally repressed, and that's not Forster, that's Ishiguro, but there's elements of it in that as well. And, like, Room of the View, they have my best friend and their best friend Simon Callow there, who's just, like, being there, and, like, you know, there's just, like, elements of gayness to all of the stories. There's that they put, like, little gems for each of the characters in there for you to kind of recognize. So I feel like those movies feel to me, when I watch them, like, oh, this was made, like, this is a weird thing to think in a way. But I think, like, knowing that they're gay may contribute to it. It's like, oh, these movies were made by a gay man, and written by a gay man, adapted by a gay man, because they understand these particular things and why they're important, which is an incredible generalization to make. And obviously that is, like, completely different for many different directors. But sometimes you just get that that sense of recognition, as we were talking about, when you watch something. God, this list is so long.
It is. You know, we'll just kind of, you don't need to hit. There's so many points on this list that we do not need to.
So many. I mean,
I think for the sake of Ezra, we have to mention Pride! !
Pride is great. Pride is fantastic.
Still have not seen it, even though I know you guys love it. I know it's a good movie.
Pride is, like, the alternative to watching Beats Per Minute if you want to watch a kind of long movie about, like, queer activism, but you don't want to be crying from sadness at the end of it. Kind of. Because somebody mentioned, I read a review on Letterboxd for BPM last night that was like, the ending felt weirdly, like, not cathartic enough, which I know is a weird thing to ask from, like, a movie about AIDS activism, but I do think that Pride, the movie, has that kind of moment of catharsis at the end of it. So if you want that, definitely watch. I love that movie. Portrait we mentioned.
Yep.
My Own Private
Which I think
Idaho.
I would really like to see again.
Yes.
Because when I first saw it, I was in, like, a weird mood, and that wasn't fair.
Same.
And that movie still spoke to me, right? And I still was like, I get it, but I'm like, I think now I want to take, like, a more fair shake at it and watch it again and, like, actually get to experience it instead of, like, being a weird asshole about it for, like, no reason.
I remember that night. I was in a bad mood that night. I was in a bad mood that night, too.
There was a bad mood in the air. Who fucking knows? I want to see My Own Private Idaho, but I also don't because I think it's going to make me cry really, really hard.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to go into a movie knowing that it's going to be difficult.
My Own Private Idaho is interesting because part of it, right, turns into an adaptation. I mean, ostensibly the whole thing is meant to be an adaptation of Henry IV, but it's like all of a sudden at a certain point it turns into like a very explicit adaptation of Henry IV. Like they start speaking lines from the show and you're like, whoa, what's going on now? And then there's just like one scene for me personally that just like guts me, which I think is kind of the famous scene in like the River Phoenix performance. And then I was kind of like sad, but like not crying through the rest of it, if that helps. But I don't know. It's worth it, I think, for River's performance.
That's the other part is like I think cute. Also I'm going to be like externally just very sad about River Phoenix.
Yeah, I mean mood always, yeah.
Yeah. Also, God, I will cry at literally everything. So like
yeah.
I don't know, maybe it'll be good for me.
I do want to highlight The Miseducation of Cameron Post.
Mm-hmm.
Another really lovely modern queer movie.
Mm-hmm.
Directed and adapted by a bisexual woman, Desiree Akhavan.
Hell yeah.
Shout out. Rafiki, lovely movie.
Need to see it on my list.
I think that's on Canopy too.
Hell yeah.
I
need to see Rebel Without a Cause too. Yeah.
Yep. The Servant. Evil Gaze. Great movie, by the way. Dirk Bogarde. Any movie with Dirk Bogarde in it, just watch it. Doesn't matter if it's shitty, just watch it. He's beautiful. Thelma and Louise, obviously.
Saw that when I was 18, I think, so like fairly young gay, and it got to the end, and I was like, this is the fucking movie ever made. Like,
yeah, it's the most movie.
I have not seen it since, but it still lives in my heart as like this perfect crystallized, like, fuck, every time someone's like, oh, Thelma and Louise, I'm like, yes! Fuck yes!
Do we want to talk about that? Yes. Love this movie.
Yes. Anytime. Down for it. Still need to see Shiva Baby. No, Z very much liked it.
Yes.
Right?
It's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Victim I talked about a couple weeks ago. Just watched that recently. Another Dirk Bogarde, great movie.
Yep.
The Watermelon Woman by Cheryl Dunye, great movie. Love her. Very, very good time. It's fun to have lesbian comedies every once in a while. They're also like really smart and really perceptive. So I love that movie.
It's fun to have a gay comedy. Jesus Christ.
I know.
I'm not asking for a lot.
And I feel like a lot of them recently have been kind of like, some of them have been kind of rough.
Yeah, some of them have been kind of like blah. But some of them, I feel a lot of queer media that's coming out right now that is popular is angled towards like a high school or younger audience, which is great. Mm-hmm. Hell yeah, those kids should have that. You know what I had? But I'm a Cheerleader, which is a great movie. But like they should have more of that kind of stuff. I'm turning 29 this month. I don't really want to watch the show about high school baby gays.
Yeah.
I'm like a full ass adult.
Yeah.
So I want a comedy about like other full ass adult gays.
Yeah, I this is related to a Heartstopper, which I've heard is really lovely and
so
great.
Am I.
I just
once again, I'm like 29.
I'm 20. I'm 29. I'm gonna be 30.
We are 29. Yeah,
terrifying thought to me. Even though I've heard that your 30s are great.
Yes, I'm excited to be 30. But
honestly, ready to say fuck you to my 20s forever.
Crazy times. Crazy 10 years for the both of us. But neither here nor there.
Yeah.
This is not to say if you were an adult, you watched Heartstopper and you really liked it. I'm not trying to throw shade on you. I know a lot of like friends or acquaintances who did. Hell yeah. Not really something I'm interested in watching. Yeah. Anytime I watch anything set in a high school that I've not already seen, presumably when I was a high schooler, I just think like, God, I'm so glad I never have to be a teen again. I say it so much. I'm like, fuck, I'm so glad I never have to be a teenager ever again. That shit was so annoying.
Whenever I see a teenager in real life. I mean, we get so many...
Yeah!
I work at a store that is on Columbia campus. So not so much... We get teenagers, but we also get, like, really young college students in a lot. And
you
every
get,
time
like,
they come to the store...
somethings.
Yeah, I'm like, God, I'm so glad I'm not that old anymore. And it's nothing like against college students or high school
There's
students.
There's nothing wrong with them.
So
they're just
happy
like 20
that I'm not
something.
that age anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm not in college and in high school. God, high school especially, because college was like a moderately enjoyable time for me, apart from the time when I had severe depression. Aside from that, it was enjoyable.
Those were like the lost to depression years, so I'm like, those were just kind of a wash.
Yeah.
But really, I hit 25. People say this, and it's true, that I hit 25 and it was like a switch happened in my brain, and I was like, oh my god, shit just like is easier now. Shit just like makes sense more. And I can't watch media about people who are not yet 25 and not just be like, wow, none of this would have needed to happen if you were just 25.
Yeah. It's not even like a skills thing or like a skill set or like a jobs thing. It's just like there's a point that you get when it's just like, I could just talk to this person. It's like,
hopefully, hopefully you get there, because I know a lot of people who are older than us who have not gotten there.
Yeah, I mean, certainly,
but we don't hang out with them, so that's not an issue for us.
Certainly, it requires a relative. This is a large tangent, and neither here nor there, listeners. But
whatever,
it requires a certain amount of
wanting
people to wanting relative little conflicts and wanting the best for other people that you are around, whether you're in a professional setting or personal setting. And so, there just comes a point where you're just like, communication is a really great thing, and I can do it, and it's not hard. And it's true that when you turn 25, it's just like, oh. And then everything.
I have a greater understanding of myself and everyone around me, and suddenly, like, that doesn't mean I haven't had hard times and shit has not been hard, but it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Mm-hmm. No, we're good. Thank you.
Yeah. So if we have any listeners who are under the age of 25 and you're hearing this bit right now,
I promise you, shit's about to be so much better.
Yeah. Hopefully. I hope that for you.
Yes, I want that for you.
Yeah.
Holy Moses.
I think about stuff that I did when I was in college. So fucking embarrassing. High school too. I mean, that goes without saying, because high school.
Yeah, but like, I feel like teens are allowed to be embarrassing. If you're 23, like, thinking back to when I was 23, I'm like, wow, why was I so embarrassing? I was 23, and I'm like, 23 is like a baby though. Like, that's basically a fetus crawling on the floor. So like, not really.
That's
sorry.
I was
sorry,
like 24 or 23.
Friend.
No, how old was I when I did Pride and Prejudice? Oh my god, I was so young.
Oh my god,
so young. I thought I was like the oldest person alive, and everybody I hung out with thought I was like 30. Literally, I had coworkers.
The play that makes you old.
Stop. God damn it. I mean, partly because my Darcy was like literally in his 40s. But I had, or his late 30s, whatever. I had coworkers that I worked with, or castmates who were like, you're like 30, right? And I'm like, I'm 23. Like, what's going on? It's so difficult to know if that's a compliment or an insult. They certainly don't mean it as an insult, but it's like, do I look old or am I just mature?
Yeah, the other thing is, I realize, like, looking at pictures of me in my early 20s and looking at pictures of me now, it's like, I kind of look mostly the same. I just, like, move and talk differently, and that's the age indicator. Like, also, getting old rips, and we're gonna be hot when we're older. But, like, podcast is starting again. I need to see Weekend. You love Weekend.
I love Weekend, and I've only ever watched it by myself. By which I mean I've never watched it with my parents, because there are a small handful of, I hesitate to use the word explicit, but like very realistic sex scenes in it that I just feel like I just generally like, I don't want to watch those with my parents. I feel kind of like it's personal, it's private.
Yeah.
For me. But
it feels intimate.
I love that movie. Yeah. The whole movie is so intimate. 'Cause it's just like, it really is just like a series of conversations and like moments of intimacy, like kind of stolen moments of intimacy. I really like that movie. And that one, I guess that's on Criterion, because I have it on DVD, right. But I think when I rewatched it recently, I think it was on Criterion. Yeah, Andrew Haigh, love him. And now we're getting to the non-alphabetical part of the list.
Yeah, now we're getting to Maddie's bullshit corner. Brokeback Mountain, we've talked it to death.
Yeah.
Moving on. Handmaiden kicks ass. I need to see it again. It's been a very long time. It's a very good movie. Yes. I keep seeing GIFs of it just online, and I'm like, fuck, this movie's so good.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, like, content warning for, like, multiple things, but, like, worth it.
Yeah, so much fun and so, like, wild. Like,
funny.
I did not... Yeah,
like, has moments that are just, like, very funny.
And so stylish, too. I love the filmmaking in it. The book on which it is based, Fingersmith by Sarah Waters, is quite different. No, not too different, but different enough, but also really good. But The Handmaiden is just like a whole nother ballpark. Very,
like, genuine in that it is, like, very true to itself in whatever that means, you know?
Yeah.
This is one of those moments where I feel like movie you've heard is really good turned out to be really good, but like if you've not seen The Handmaiden, please see The Handmaiden. It's very, very good. It's very worth your time. I did not see Call Me By Your Name. I do not have a particular interest in seeing it because everyone online was so annoying about that movie. The book is something that I was interested in reading at one point, and then everybody was really annoying about it, and I was like, I don't even know if this book is good or not or worth my time, and I will not read it now. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for the information.
I also did... Sorry, I saw that movie, and I've seen it once. I did not think it was the worst movie ever made. I also don't think it was exceptional. I think Timmy Chalamet is my best friend Timmy. Is good in it. I think that Michael Stuhlbarg, who plays the father, obviously is the best part of that movie. He has a scene at the very end of the movie that just made me cry. It was like the only time that I really felt something in the whole movie was this scene that he had at the end, because Michael Stuhlbarg is one of the finest actors of his generation. Armie Hammer, I don't think he's a very good actor, and apparently there's lots of other stuff wrong with him too, so whoopsie daisy.
Yeah, I think best thing he ever did was play twins in The Social Network, because that shit was really funny.
Speaking of queer movies,
when he parent trapped himself. I literally almost put The Social Network on this list. I need you to understand.
I think it counts.
I think it counts for us.
Yeah.
I also didn't see blue as the warmest color, but I feel like we have to remind everybody of the story of Ezra falling asleep in the theater twice. They went to go see that movie 2 times, fell asleep both times. And we were living together at that point, so they came back and I was like, how was the movie? And they were like, oh, I fell asleep. And I'm like, that's not a good sign. And they went to go try and see it again. They came back and I was like, great, so how was the movie? And they were like, I fell asleep again. And I was like, okay, I'm never gonna watch this movie.
It's the funniest thing I've ever heard, because it's just like, I've heard so many terrible things about the movie, like behind the scenes stuff of that movie and the sex scenes and the way the actresses were treated. Oh my God. So you could come away from all of that with any of those reactions to it, but it's just the fact that Ezra went to see it and just fell asleep instead twice. That I just...
Like, it's just so cutting. That, like, so Ezra's not really a fall asleep during movies kind of person. So the fact that they went to go see it in a theater more than once and fell asleep both times. Like,
it was just too
Did
fresh.
Not need any other review. Did not need any other review. I was done.
Absolutely not.
Is that based on a graphic novel? Am I remembering that correctly?
The graphic novel I've heard is good. Now, because
I think I did read that, and I think I did enjoy it. Or I read part of it. But that movie is just like, oof.
Failure of adaptation. Funniest thing I've ever heard in my fucking miserable life. Anyway, Carol.
I did not see Carol, but it's one of those movies that people are either like, this changed my life, or people are like, this movie fucking blows. And I'm like, it seems fine. It seems like a fine movie.
I saw that in theaters with my dad. I liked it a lot more when I saw it in theaters, and then I rewatched it and I was kind of kind of bored with it. I didn't fall asleep. But like, I do see what people say, like when they have their problems with it. I mean, I feel like it's the Patricia Highsmith thing with lesbians where, I don't know. I do think the movie does some. I've read Price of Salt also that it's based on, and I feel like the movie goes some way towards mitigating Patricia's like, oh, what's the word? Self-hating sort of approach to her own lesbianism, because like that's the thing is like when you read her stuff like Talented Mr. Ripley and Strangers on a Train, she's produced so many like purposefully or accidentally like queer texts that are kind of like of the evil gay variety, where it's both Strangers on a Train, which is the original Hitchcock movie adaptation, is quite good, and quite gay. One of the major gay Hitchcock movies alongside Rope, which I forgot to put on here. Crime.
I was just about to talk about Rope.
Yeah. Oh, so we can talk about
to see.
Rope. We'll talk about Rope. It's a good movie, but I feel like there's a theme in Strangers on a Train and Talented Mr. Ripley where it's like the gay man like wants to subsume you or like control your identity or something like that and murder you. I don't know. Like the just like The Thing. Yeah, exactly like The Thing. The Thing is famously one of our most famous drag queens. The Thing from Outer Space and John Carpenter's The Thing. I enjoy Talented Mr. Ripley. I feel like it's kind of beautiful to look at because there's so many beautiful people in it, and like Jude Law is, stupidly good looking in it. Matt Damon is there. Jack Davenport is just like, oh my god, Jack Davenport. Why would you not want to watch a movie with Jack Davenport? Philip Seymour Hoffman is great in it. It does feel like a deeply homophobic movie in many ways. Which, your mileage may vary. And like Patricia Highsmith, I like her writing. I feel like some stuff has come out about her recently because they recently published her journals where she has very bad opinions about pretty much everybody, any kind of social ethnic group you can think of, and as well as gay people. Just you name it, she's thought some really fucked up things about it. So
and just wrote it in her fucking journal. Just was like, I'm just gonna write that shit down. Yeah. Get it out.
Because she was like, this is my own private journal. And then people were like, you're a famous author and you're dead. Let's publish them. Nothing bad will happen there. And then they read it and they were like,
time to fucking put her on blast for all the shit that she thought.
Yeah. I have not read them myself. I have just heard this, obviously, since I work in a bookstore, and I have had coworkers and customers, too, actually, who have read it and been like, oh, yeah, this stuff in The Thing. Ooh. And I was like, ooh, okay, good to know. Cool. Complicated person she is. Anyway.
I like Kinky Boots.
That's cool. I'm not familiar with Kinky Boots. I know of it, but I haven't seen it or listened to it.
You haven't seen it. Yeah. I have not listened to the musical. I've only seen the movie. It's like, it's fun, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it's not complicated, which sometimes it's like, I don't want something complicated. I just want something that's kind of like a fun romp. And I think also, like, people just don't take it very seriously. And I'm like, I mean, that's fine. You don't need to. Yeah. It's a movie called Kinky Boots. I think it's based on a true story, actually. But, like, I don't know. It's fun. I think that's what we want to talk about Rocky Horror. God, I think sometimes it's nice to have like a queer movie that's just kind of like fun and goofy. Mm-hmm. But there are not many of them.
Not many.
There are not many of them.
That's why when you come across something like But I'm a Cheerleader, it gains this like mythical cult status because you're just because it is genuinely funny while also being about real shit. So you're just like, oh my god, this is the best movie ever made. Because it's like one of the only movies like this.
Yeah, it's the golden ticket. It's like, how often do you see shit like they just don't make, currently, do not make a lot of movies like that for us, which I know we've talked about on the show. And I'm just like, it's so annoying to me as an internet funny man, because God, I like just want to see something that's funny. Yeah. That's why I like The Handmaiden so much. That movie's funny.
Yeah. And
on top of all the other good stuff about it, it has moments of just like brilliant wit.
Yeah, it is like startlingly funny, I think is the word for Handmaiden for me.
Yes.
I know the movie.
There's the moment where, sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
There's the moment where it's near the end, and they like God, I forget their names. But one of them is the lady is hanging from the tree, and they've revealed to each other like we were going to screw each other over. And like she's like, I was gonna send you to the asylum, and the other woman is holding her up, and she drops her and is like, that son of a bitch. Yeah. She starts choking, and she's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Very funny.
Yeah.
Startling is a good word for it.
Yeah. What was I thinking of? Fire Island, which I put on here, is this new movie that came out on Hulu, which I've heard is kind of funny. Meant to be funny. So I'm cautiously interested in that. It's just a movie. So all I know about it is that it's a movie where some gay people go to Fire Island, which is the start of many great stories in our history.
Yeah.
So
me and my friends taking a vacation, sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just getting to that part in the book the Larry Kramer book that I'm reading, but I can't say because the title is a slur. But you know the book. They're on Fire Island now, so shit's about to go down for real, and shit's already gone down for real at some of the other clubs and stuff. Anyway. Fire Island possibility. The picture of Dorian Gray.
Yeah, I wrote this, so I'm gonna make you say it.
Oh my god. Yeah,
I won't actually make you say it. We watched this on your home computer. This is a Matty and Helena story time. Watched this on your home computer when we were like 17, and we were really into the picture of Dorian Gray, which like, yeah, of course we were. We were both recently out. But this is the one with Ben Barnes. I was just called him Ben Bon. Where he, as Dorian Gray, kisses Basil Howard directly on the mouth, and then I think sucks him off. Am I remembering that right? Yeah.
So because I've rewatched this scene many, many times because I have obtained it in some way, and so I've been able to rewatch it multiple times.
I just owned that movie on DVD. I bought it.
Yeah, you bought it on
I'll
DVD.
cop to it. I own it on DVD.
Physical
I bought it for
King.
like $5 or something. It was cheap.
Yeah, I wonder why that
why.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a scene that is famously not in the book. They're at the big orgy party, and he's just had sex with multiple people, and then Basil's like, why are you doing this? Why are you such a bad person now?
Yeah,
and
what happened to you?
I'm gonna kiss you. And then
he's like, I'm going to distract you by fucking. And it works. Good for him.
He pushes him down on the settee, or whatever the English call that stupid thing, and then there's motion which implies he's going to do something.
It's off screen.
I think is like he's gonna suck him off probably.
Yeah.
Spoilers. Not really.
Spoilers for the Picture of Dorian Gray movie. Let me say this: it's not a good movie. You don't need to see it. But like, boy, was watching as someone who I had read that book and then was watching that scene. I was like, whoa, hold on. Yeah. They just went and did that, I guess, huh? Mm-hmm. Obviously that book is very gay, just kind of like in and of itself. But like it was very interesting to be like, wow, they just were like, man, fuck it, who gives a shit?
Yeah. And what's wild is that is not the craziest change that they made in that movie.
No.
As we both know. Mm-hmm. There's
anyway,
some stuff going on in that film.
For sure. Thank you to Val Kilmer for playing Gay Perry, just separately.
Thank you, Val Kilmer.
About you. I owe you everything.
Val Kilmer as Gay Perry, one of the greatest straight men playing gay characters in all of his cinematic history. Yeah. Several line readings in that movie from him that I think about literally every day of my life. Whenever I hear, this is my thing, like whenever I listen to a song, I'm very picky about music. And oftentimes if I can't get into a song in the first minute, I am like, this is not going to be happening for me. Depending on the length of the song too. And the band. But usually it's like first minute. And so every time I think of that, I think of him saying, you have 30 of my fucking seconds, thrill me. Literally think about it every day of my life. Hi, we are so fucking lost.
Yeah. Hi, we are so incredibly lost.
So incredibly lost. He called, the one I was thinking about the other day was, he called her a bad word, or he called her a naughty word, and then he, like, several seconds go by, and then he says the word, which is just, like, the funniest punchline ever. He's like, he called her a bad word.
So fucking funny.
It's this. He's my favorite person.
We have, like, obviously talked about Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Yeah.
Front and back, up and down, inside and out. This is a podcast that is about movies, but is mostly about Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
True.
But, like, I feel like it would be... I'm sure there are people who take issue with his depiction, right? Those people aren't fucking us, though.
Probably.
But I feel like it would have been easy to make the fact that he is gay, like...
a joke.
And it's not. It's... No. There are jokes about it, but not at his expense. And he is usually the one making them.
Because he's the most competent person in that movie.
Yeah.
So
he's in control of almost every situation he's in, with some notable exceptions. Yeah.
Like Dabney, who like makes a lot of the jokes at his expense. Or what's the name of the guy he's also the hairdresser in Princess Diaries or something like that. He's the guy
you're talking about the agent.
The agent who makes a lot of the...
That is Dabney.
Dabney? Okay, yeah. He pulled that one out of my... Seen that movie too many times. He is the one who makes a lot of the, like, bad gay jokes at the beginning. And he's an idiot. Like, he's an idiot and a homophobe and a misogynist. Yeah. Harry is an idiot. So it's like, you know, Harry would... Like, Perry is in control almost always and, like, is the most competent person in the room. Yeah. So... Don't quit your gay job. Don't quit your gay job. Yeah, Merry Christmas. Sorry, I fucked you over. Another line reading. I think about it all the time.
God, it's just so good. It's just a good movie. And he's really, I don't know, he doesn't feel like a straight man playing a gay character. No. You know how straight people play gay characters and you're like, okay. Yeah. All right, then. That's not what he's doing. I don't know.
The whole rooftops, not to get like too into the weeds about Kiss Kiss Bang Bang for the people
who haven't seen it. It's too late. I can use this as a transition.
Scenes.
It's fine. Yeah. It's fine. I can use this as a transition to something else.
Everything about the rooftop scene when Harry just keeps talking is like, hello! And he's like, he used to shave a couple million off Colin Farrell's price tag! Just like the dejected way that man says the line Colin Farrell wants too much money is too much money. Anyway, best script of all time.
Yes, but I'm gonna use this as a lead into we've discussed a few movies that have like queer readings, and there are like plenty of fucking movies where I'm like, this movie, one, maybe doesn't even have a queer reading, and two, is definitely not intended to be queer in any way, but like is queer to me, like had some kind of notable stepping stone in my queer experience, and therefore like somehow gets slotted under the category of like, yeah, these movies are gay. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang obviously has a gay character, but I'm like, no, everything about this movie is gay.
Yeah.
First of all. So jot that down. But, God, I'm trying to think of other ones just off the dome that have that kind of, like... There was something about them that, like, spoke to me.
This one was a pretty recent movie for me, but, like, I put Mikey and Nikki on here. Yeah. Because I feel like it's just, like, it's so hard for me to watch that and not get that reading from it. Yeah. I mean, I think you can... It's a great movie, and I think you can get that from it. Like, you can get a good reading from it without... the queer reading as well, but I feel like it's just there. It's just so impossible for me to separate it from that one. I mean, Lord of the Rings, honestly, in some ways. I mean, I think it's more explicit than some other ones are, but I mean, not intentional.
Yeah, but people have been doing, but that is a great big example of like there are so many people that watched that movie and was like, oh, this speaks to my lived experience in a way that maybe wasn't intentional, but like, but I feel that, like, that this is me. Yeah. And that was obviously not the intention, really. Yeah. No. But that's another great example. Oh my God, why am I just fucking, like...
Blanking?
Yeah. I don't know.
I have one if you want to think about yours a little bit longer. I didn't put 4 Weddings and a Funeral on here, but that counts as well. Ezra and I have talked about that before a lot as being kind of one of the first times that we saw a gay couple on screen, where it was just like there and not being made a big deal of. Apart from, say, for example, like Will and Grace, which was a show that I watched a lot as a kid, but like like reruns of, which I maybe shouldn't have been doing, but
I did too.
And Frasier,
though, I get it.
Obviously,
which
is also about gay people.
Yes, it is.
But yeah, For Weddings and a Funeral, and also like, I feel like for me, what happens more often than not is like a gender thing too, where I'm like, I see myself in a particular character so often, and usually they are not women. They're not usually straight women. They're usually like gay men or straight men, where there's some kind of. I'm thinking about Hugh Grant's character in Four Weddings and a Funeral, in addition to the actual gay characters in Four Weddings, where I'm like, there's so much emotional repression and like relationship problems going on in this movie that I like identified with these characters, even though, and that was also what I found, tying this back to the beginning, to be like the most relatable thing about Saving Face as well. I found a lot of the times in Saving Face, I was like really frustrated with her girlfriend, because I was like, can't you understand how hard it is for her to say these things and do these things in public? And then I was like, oh, but this, to be fair, Will is the protagonist and we're seeing this through her perspective, and so naturally it seems frustrating to us. But also, you're also over-identifying with Will as well, because you're like, it's really hard to be in an airport and say, like, because she's like, kiss me in front of all of these people at this airport, and she's like, I can't do that, and she's like, okay, goodbye. I'm like, that's so hard to do for her. Can't you see how hard it is for her? Like, it's the emotional repression, baby, and that, that kind of comes through a lot in some gay narratives, but also in like just seeing the opposite, quote unquote, gender represented on screen, and then saying, oh, okay, I identify with that more often than I identify with like my own, quote unquote, gender. Whatever that means to people. Anyway, rambling thoughts.
But I totally get what you mean, though. I feel very similarly. Wow, it's amazing. We're similar. But so like, good. There are, I think, because obviously Hollywood is like, men are repressed and women have emotions.
Yes, that's part
but
of
like,
it too,
so when that is something that you struggle with, it is easier to, and I'm not saying like my emotional repression trans to my gender because I saw myself in men more. That's insane. No. But like, but it is easier to look at those characters and be like, oh, I see myself in, and like, I'm not you, obviously, but like, I see that in you, and therefore like, part of my experience of how I got to be that kind of person, I'm going to put on you. And part of that is like my queerness or whatever. I realized one of the movies for me is The Lost Boys, nice. Which is that gay ass vampire movie that I initially watched with a couple of close friends of mine many years ago when I was fairly young. And I feel like a lot of those movies from that time are when I was really starting to I don't know if I've talked about this on the show. I first realized I was trans when I was 18. And that was after years of being like, I can't be trans because I'm not a boy. Big news coming on the way, buddy. And then proceeded to not be out for like 4 or 5 years. Is that right? A long time. But I was watching a lot of these movies with my friends around that time when I was grappling with that kind of thing. And I realized like a lot of the connections I was making to movies and characters and stuff ended up being kind of like getting a tint of that, what I was going through at that time. I have this with a couple of musical albums too, where I'm like, these albums are not trans, these albums are not gay, but because of what I was experiencing at that time, that is how they are intrinsically linked for me. Right. Which like, is In an Airplane Over the Sea a gay album? No, it's not.
Well.
Did I first discover it right around the time when I was really starting to figure out some shit about myself? Yes. So I don't know. That's part of it too, is like what your journey but what you may have been experiencing at the time ends up, I think, for me anyway, I end up kind of putting that onto like the things that I was learning about and first discovering at the time that always kind of end up making it, like, very sentimental to me that, like, I was really figuring out who I was, and I really liked that movie when I was figuring out who I was, and that was kind of part of it, that I was watching these boys do, like, stupid, dangerous things, and that was something I never had let myself do, and I wanted that.
Right. Love that.
End of sentence. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. Lost Boys is a very, very gay movie.
Yeah, beyond all that, Lost Boys is just a gay-ass movie.
So I think that you chose well. It's an appropriate movie to choose for that kind of situation.
Yeah.
Love imprinting, or I hate that word too. And whenever I feel so that imprinting is a fine word, and but it's just that whenever I think of it, I think about Twilight. And
that sounds like a you problem.
Certain plot points in Breaking Dawn, as we all know. But whatever that is, having movies and having music that and television shows and books, what have you, that you connect with on that level.
Yeah, you make those brain connections, those like emotional.
Like to like a very secret, maybe not secret in some ways, depending on like when you connected with it, part of your identity. I think a lot of us and a lot of our friends, maybe outside the podcast, talked a lot about the Alana's books and a lot of the stuff that Tamora Pierce has written and how important that was as well for them in like discovering and being comfortable with how their approach to gender as well. I did not have that as much when I was younger, so I found other stuff, and I'm trying to remember what the book.
Kel was a big one for me of the like Tamora Pierce books. I loved Alana too, but
yeah.
And Dane, actually, because I was an Animals kid. But Kel was the one for me where she was, like, very much a tomboy. In a way that, like, the others sort of were in Son of Words. And I was like, oh, that connects for me. Which there were not a lot of when we were growing up, like, tomboy protagonists. Yeah,
not really. And I was
not actively ever I was not discouraged from being a tomboy, but I was, and like society has never been ever stoked about that kind of thing. So
no, I don't know if I ever really counted. I got called a tomboy by members of my family, and I was like, I don't really think you can call me that because tomboy requires at least some inclination to be active and enjoy sports. I feel like, and I just was not necessarily that far. But... so I guess it depends on your interpretation. I just hated wearing dresses, and that was the only thing for them that they saw.
Yeah, the rejection of traditional femininity. I'm putting a lot of air quotes here that you can't see, beloved listener. Yeah. I mean, I was also fairly active, but I think that was just because I had so much squirrely energy that I had to fucking get out somehow, and I didn't know anyway. And also a very active imagination. That came out in me, like, physically acting things out. But for me, it was more the, like, rejection of traditional femininity that, like, I just... Which now, as an adult, I'm like...
yeah.
I love accessories and shit. I love pink. Whatever.
Yeah, I just kind of would fall in love and then I so disconnected from reality was I. I mean, I had crushes mainly on book characters and, movie characters, and that's kind of stayed the same, which I think is like a particular way in which my queerness has manifested is I had to pretend and even pretend to myself to have crushes on classmates that I had, especially in high school. And I was just like, no, Dustfinger is where it's at. That's a man. That's who I
Hello.
Hi, for the love of God. Hello. That's what I'm all about right there. Married man he was. Is present tense. Is for God. Don't say that. He's still alive and with us right now in this very room.
Dustfinger, if you're here, give us a sign.
Is this Dustfinger in the room with you right now? Yes.
Yeah.
He's with me.
He's always in my heart.
And he looks like Paul Bettany.
Fuck you.
Yeah. So that was the way that mine always manifested. I don't know if I had any book character in particular that I identified with, apart from like Remus Lupin of the aforementioned of the series of
the Turf Island books. Yeah.
Yes. Love of my life, tragically. But
wish you could be saved. Wish you could be rescued.
Wish we could save you, King.
This is your fate. This is your prison. I would not take it from you.
Yeah. But yeah.
It's a reference to Fallout 3. Thanks,
Is
Thanks,
it? I
Scopes.
just thought that was something that you wrote. That was cool.
No, the like this is your I think it's like this is your fate, and I would not deprive you of it. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. Being gay is pretty cool.
It's cool, and a lot of the movies
to watch
that we
movies
mentioned
about people being gay.
talked about you should probably watch, unless we told you that they weren't very good. In which case, you can still watch them if you want to check them out.
If you want. If you want to, we put a caveat on some of them, but that's up to you. Live your life, live your truth. XOXO, I love you.
Yeah. We love you, and
we love you.
Sneople at the movies. We love you, and we love movies.
That's the T-shirt.
Worst tagline ever, and worst timeline ever.
Not very searchable. I'll say that much.
No.
Oh no, wait. I had one last thought.
Yeah.
And it's about, like, the shit that gay people online get attached to, and it's always the, like, most crazy thing you could ever imagine, and it's always really funny.
Yeah.
Fucking Voltron, hello? Saw? What? I don't get it. I love it. Cracks you up every time.
I'm so glad that we have these deranged things for gay people to...
Well, you know, they're not making shit for us, so we gotta just pick one. Just spin the wheel. Top Gun. New one's out. Apparently it's alright. Anyway, thank you for hanging out with us here at Sneople at the Movies. Yeah. I know it's a fucking burden every time, but
especially with just two of us.
I always think of us as, like, fairly put together, right? Like, the two of us, I'm like, I don't think of us as, like, idiots. But you remove, like, a stabilizing agent, and it just becomes, like, fucking... I don't know. Monkeys in a cage.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try this sentence again. Thank you for hanging out with us here on Sneak with the Movies from the Infinity Break Network. That's our network. Check out infinitybreak.net for more awesome content. And come hit us up on Twitter at people_snake or shoot us an email at sneaplethemovies@gmail.com. If you've got a subject you want to hear us talk about, a movie you think we absolutely need to see, or your list of favorite queer cult classics, come say hello. Our amazing music was done by Johnny Ronaldo, who you can find at Johnny Ronaldo on Twitter. Our super snazzy logo was designed by Bethany Luthold. You can check her out at bethanyluthold.wixsite.com. If you can, please review on iTunes and share the show with any friends who you think would enjoy it. Any way you can help us spread the news really helps, and we always appreciate it. So, as always, thank you for listening, and we'll see you at the movies.